Hi guys, it's Beth here from Bourbon Creek Crafts today, and welcome back to the Scrapping for Less channel. Today I'm going to share with you what I made using the January 2019 Flavor of the Month card kit, and I used a little bit of this kit for the very first design team video that I made with Scrapping for Less, and it's a kit I had in my stash, and when I was playing with it, I couldn't wait to get back, have another chance to play with this kit. So for this month's installment of revisiting an old card kit, I decided to pull this one back out and finish playing with it, and it was a lot of fun. I love coffee, and I love coffee-themed things. I have a lot of friends that love coffee, so I figured this would be a great way to make some cards to send to my friends and family, because we're all caffeine freaks, maybe? Caffeine addicts, coffee freaks, I don't know. Anyway, so I had a lot of fun playing with this kit, and unfortunately I did not take a picture of it when I first started playing with it like several months ago, just because I didn't think I would need to. But if I can find the pictures of this kit from when it came out, I will try to insert those here. But basically there were 4 different collections. There was one that was called Coffee Time by Scrapping for Less, and then one that was called Love, Coffee, and Donuts, and it had paper by Scrapping for Less also. Then there was collection number 3, which was Coffee and Friends paper. It had Coffee and Friends paper by Scrapping for Less, and then collection number 4 was actually an Echo Park collection called Coffee. And then I had the banana split level, so I also got in my kit an embossing folder that said "Do Not Worry" by Teresa. I don't know if you can see the embossing detail on there, but it says do not worry, and then it's got donuts all around it. And then I got a cat's eye ink pad in the color brown, like chestnut roan, which is brown, and then a melting snowman stamp set from Your Next Stamp, and then a coffee cup wood embellishment, which I will show you here in just a bit. So there was a lot of fun things to work with, and I had a lot of fun playing with it. So the very first collection I used was this one, and it was Coffee Time, and so the paper was by Scrapping for Less, as was the stamp set. And there were ephemera by Scrapping for Less in this one as well. So I made use of the ephemera, and then I pulled in a few of the stamps. But what I did was I made a little set of cards. I thought this would be a really cute gift for a coffee lover friend. So I made them all in the same layout. They just all have different images on them. So this one was ephemera, and basically what I did, and I found that this was a perfect way to use up one of these collections, just for the fact that it left me with no scraps. So I trimmed my matte piece here down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then this strip is what is left after you trim down your card mat, and so I just cut it off at 5 3/8 as well, so it was the full length of the card mat. And so that left you with 2 small scrap pieces once you did that. And basically that's what I did. I went through all 6 sheets that came in this collection, cut my mat down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then cut my strip down, to 5 3/8. And that left me with a little strip like this, and then a little strip like this, which is perfect to fit on the inside of the card. So that's what I did with all of these. All of these went on the inside of the card. And then this one I tried to incorporate into the card design somehow. So here I used one of the pieces of ephemera, and I did pop it up on foam. I brought in a piece of light blue cardstock that was also included in the kit, and then accented with the little strip here from one of the other papers. And then I did add, there were some white sequins in this collection, or some sequins in this collection, and so I picked out some of the white ones to layer on there. So like I said, all of the cards in this set have, a mat and then this strip, and then I just tried to mix and match them so that they coordinated but weren't, like the same print. So here I used the coffee cup from the stamp set, and then the phrase, "Coffee and friends are the nectar of life," and I colored up the coffee cup, and I did add a little Wink of Stella on the heart and on the steam coming off. I don't know if you can see that at all on camera. And then I pulled in that little bitty strip down here and added a fishtail banner, and then added some of the teal sequins around the bottom of my stitch circle that I die cut. Third card in this collection, here's the strip down here again, and then this time I used an ephemera piece and glued it on. These are 2 pieces of ephemera that I combined, glued them onto a stitch circle in that light blue cardstock, backed it on a white circle matte, and then I used the phrase, "Did someone say coffee?" from the stamp set, and then these were brown sequins that were included in the sequin mix. Here again, just used ephemera. This was just a strip piece that like a little scrap piece that I had left, so it's a little thin, but I included it, and then with this little pattern strip here, and then 3 more sequins scattered around. This was ephemera, and I just cut out a tag shape that was from a die that I got in one of the old Flavor of the Month kits. I don't remember which one. I've had it for a while, so it was probably one of the earlier ones. Put my strip down here this time, and then my 3 sequins up here on the left. And on this last one, I brought in the coffee cup stamp again, but I didn't add anything else on it. Here is my pattern paper strip, and then my sentiment is down here on the light blue strip, and then some more of those teal sequins. So every card has the same size mat, every card has the same size strip, and every card includes sequins, but they just all have different ephemera or images on them. So it kind of gives them a cohesive look, which is great for a card set. So that was the first one I did. And then the next set I worked on, I believe it was the collection number 3, Coffee and Friends. And this was Scrapping for Less paper. And the die set that came with this one was a La La Land craft stamp. It's Mini Marcy with coffee. And so again, I used the same basic design because I made another set of cards. So I used the same basic card design as the last one. I cut all of my 6x6 sheets down into 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch mat, took the strip that was left, cut it down to 5 3/8, and then, I had this little strip here and then the strip here that went on the inside of the card. So again, I mixed and matched the mats and the strip patterns, and then also pulled in a different pattern for this little strip somewhere on the card. And again, every card has the same basic layout here. It's just wherever the strip falls is a little different. So on this one, I brought in, these were puffy stickers by Sticko. And that was really pretty, the coffee cups. And then I used the Let's Do Coffee sentiment from the stamp set, and then some sequins that also came in this collection. This one I kind of did at the very end, and I had these 3 stickers left. They were the puffy stickers by Sticko, and I figured I could kind of make some little grouping out of them. And then I really looked at them, and I realized that it kind of says, "I love coffee." So the spoon is the I, the heart, and then the coffee cup. So that's what I'm going with. I don't know if it was meant to be that way, but that's what I'm going to say. So I pulled my strip end down here, and then I added a mix of sequin colors on this one, like the turquoise and the yellow, just because I felt it needed something else on that white circle. So this one I used Marcy, and I stamped and colored her up, and just left like the white bit around her so that she would stand out on the card. And then here's the Let's Do Coffee sentiment again, and then the little red strip down here. This one I did Marcy, but I added rounded corners on the rectangles just so she's a little bit different. Put my strip down here again, and actually I think on all these I guess the strip is down at the bottom. And then this one I did the You Can Brew It sentiment, and then just punched it into a little circle. So again, it's just a little bit different than some of the other ones. Here's Marcy again, and this time I left her as just a rectangle and then added the We Are the Perfect Blend sentiment, which came from one of the other collection stamp set, and did not fishtail that one on that little strip down at the bottom. And then here is one more of the puppy stickers from Sticko, and there were 2 little coffee bean stickers on there as well, so I decided to bring those in as an extra accent. And this says, "Good mornings start with coffee," and yes, they do, for me anyway. And then here is my little strip with the fishtail. So again, they are all similar in the layout, but they are all a little bit different either in the images or, I tried to mix up Marcy, her coloring, and the sentiments at the bottom are all different. So again, I just feel like it makes a cute little card set. So if I were to give these, I wish I would have had a little bit more paper, or wish I would have thought about this before I used all the paper. I would have liked to make like a little holder, like a little folder type holder for them, but I used all the paper on the cards. So maybe if I would have only done 5 cards, I would have had enough paper to do the holder, but that still would have been a stretch. But if I had more paper that coordinated, I would love to make a little holder. But as it is, I can always, like tie them with some ribbon or something like that. So that was my second set that I did. Next, I worked on the Echo Park Coffee collection, which was collection number 4. And I believe I may have made this one on one of that first design team video, because I know I made a couple of Post-it note holders, and these just hold the Dollar Tree lined Post-it note pads, so you get a good amount of pads on here. And this is just, I will link that video in the description box below if you'd like to check that out, because I do show how you make the holder for these. But this collection came with some cut-aparts that were perfect for this. So on this one that I had made before, I just took the cut-apart, trimmed it down so that it fit, because this layering piece on the front of the holder is 2 7/8 inches wide, so the 3x4 cut-aparts would overlap. So I just trimmed this cut-apart down so that it would fit on the front of the holder, and then I did back it with this teal color, which is actually the back side of one of the pattern papers, and then added 3 green sequins that came in the kit. And so when I came back to play with this kit again, I decided to keep going with that same thought process. So I made 2 more holders, and I made them the exact same way. They have Velcro closures, and they all have the little Dollar Tree lined pad inside. So again, I trimmed down the 3x4 cut apart so that it would just fit. So luckily the message would just fit on here. And then I rounded the corners, and then I had this strip left over that I just decided to add a little bit more prettiness to the front of this one. And so I just ran that strip of the pattern paper vertically behind the cut apart. And I did not add any sequins to that one. I felt that one was pretty enough on its own. So this last one that I did, I used this green paper, which is the back side of another pattern, and it's got a yellow pad on the inside this time. The Dollar Tree pads come in several different pastel colors. And then this one, I ended up just fussy cutting around the message to put it on here, and then backed it on this black and white I Love plaid. Black and white is especially my favorite plaid right now, but I decided to back the saying on this black and white plaid piece, and then the sequin mix had these little bitty tiny flower sequins, which were probably meant more for a shaker, but I decided to pull them in on my holder here. And then I had some pieces left. So I did not use this one. This was one of the cut-aparts. I did not use this one, which is okay. I have another idea for this, but I was out of paper. So I have some other copy paper in my stash that I would use this with in the future. But this collection also came with some wood embellishments. And so I decided to make a little tag. This is just an MDF tag that I had in my stash. And I took that black and white buffalo check paper, traced the tag, cut out the tag shape in my paper, and then used Mod Podge to attach it to the tag. And then just hot glued these 2 wooden ephemera piece, or wooden embellishments onto the front of it. And then I still had a little bit of this paper left and some scraps of other paper. This is the coffee cup wood embellishment that came in the banana split level of the kit. And so I just decided to kind of make a little set here that I could probably use in my kitchen. And I took some of that buffalo check pattern, again, just traced out that basic cup shape. And then I also took some of the green paper that I had left and traced around like this middle section here. And then just used some white cardstock to traced out the top of the cup. And then I also took some white cardstock and made a little cup wrap sleeve. That's the word I'm looking for. And then this is another one of the wooden embellishments that came in the kit. And so I just added that one on the front to add a little bit of an embellishment to that cup. And then I did make one card from this collection. This is a stamp set that I used from one of the other collections. I had her left, and then I had a bunch of scraps. So I took the 2 strips that I had left and just kind of took them diagonally across the card just to kind of add a little more color to the background. This is the backside of this was a cut apart, and it was just the flower pattern. Like, there was no words to it, it's just the flower pattern. And then this was the backside of one of the other pattern papers, and then this floral piece down here was a strip that I had left. And so I had already had her colored up and did not use her on another card, so I pulled her in here. And then the You Can Brew It sentiment, I believe, is also from that stamp set that you'll see in just a minute. So, and then I did use up some of the last little bitty scraps on the inside of the card. So I did get one card from this collection, and I made another embellishment. So I still had some of that buffalo check paper, and I did not want to let it go to waste because, like I said, I love buffalo check. And I also had this white piece I had made somehow when I traced my sleeve. When I cut it out, it was too skinny. And so I had made it bigger than it needed to be because I figured I would trace most of the cup and then come back and trim it down widthwise once I could see what that shape needed. And so I just turned that piece into a little bit of coffee cup. So this time I made a sleeve out of the buffalo check. I added some cardstock layers up here to make like a lid, and then I had another little bit of that green paper left, so I just punched a small circle out of it, and then coffee, coffee, coffee. I believe this was the back side of this turquoise paper. It had a bunch of like little coffee sayings. So now I have an embellishment that I can use on a future project. And then one last collection. This one was collection number 2, Coffee and Donuts by Scrapping for Less, and it was a really cute collection as well. And it used the stamp set that came in this one is from the Greeting Farm, and it's Brew It Anya. So this is Anya. So that's the one that I used in the last collection I just showed you. So here I just made some standalone cards. I didn't do a card set with this one. I decided to use the sketches, some of the sketches that came in with this collection, like that you can download and use with your kit. So I used this first one, which is Mojo Monday 359, and I made 2 cards with that one. So I did this one, trying to use some of the little stickers from Sticko that came in this collection. And so I took a stitch circle, put this box of donuts on here, and just tried to use a couple different patterns of paper and broke up the pattern with just a cardstock, pink cardstock that came in the kit. And then I had made some cards from this collection earlier, I think shortly after I got the collection. So all I had left of the donut pattern was 2 little bitty scraps. And so I decided to piece those together because I really wanted to use them on this card. So I used the 2 pieces of donuts here and then covered it with a little bitty strip of the turquoise polka dot. And then pulled in a brown strip here. And I need to correct myself. This actually, the Anya stamp set actually came with the Echo Park collection number 4. It was a Newton's Nook stamp set that came with this one, and it's Newton's Donut. So this, Life is Better with Sprinkles, was the sentiment from that Newton's Donut stamp set. And I pulled in some of the some sequins from my stash just to kind of accent it, and then added some more of the stickers on the inside. I thought this would be a great birthday card that my daughter could give to a friend. So the second one I made in this design, I had one ephemera piece from collection number 1 left. And then I did use one sentiment that was from a stamp set from my stash, and it just said, "A cup of thanks." And so again, I used different patterns here, and then a coffee cup pattern right behind my circle. I used a bigger stitch circle this time. And here it's just a strip of that turquoise polka dot pattern, and then I did back my sentiment on brown just to help it stand out a little bit, but it just said, "A couple of things." And on the inside of all of these, there is a scrap of paper because I do not like to let any of this beautiful paper go to waste, but I'm not going to show you guys that every time. So I also did a couple of cards using this second card sketch, which is Operation Right Home number 161. And here I used the Anya stamp from the previous collection that I showed, from the collection number 4, colored her up and put her on a pink oval die cut. And I used, my card base is a piece of pink cardstock that came in the kit. And so I decided to mix it up and use a colored card base for once. And then I just used 2 different pattern papers here, and then the Let's Do Coffee sentiment from one of the other stamp sets. So then the second one I did like this. I kind of did at the end, and I love this plaid. This is such a pretty plaid. And so I made it that main piece, and then I had a little bit of this coffee lover print left, so I just cut it into a square, which I backed on brown. Used the coffee bean pattern to go, is the only piece I had that was long enough to go across the card at this point. And then used some of that turquoise polka dot that I had left. I used a little scrap of it behind my sentiment, which is also from a previous Flavor of the Month card kit. And then I decided to pull that turquoise up here and created a little flag, Christy Marcotte style, at the top of that square. And then I did do a shaker. This is using the third sketch here, which is an MFT Weekly Sketch Challenge number 161. And I just used, there's a whole lot going on this card, but I just thought it was fun, the different mix of patterns and the bright pops of color. So I used the polka dot pattern, the brown polka dot, as my card mat, pulled in the darker pink coffee cup in the background here, and then this is some of the donut paper. I made this card before I did the one where I pieced together 2 little pieces of donuts. So after I used this, that's all I had left was the 2 little pieces of the donut paper. And then I had a little bit of scrap of this chevron left, so I decided to do a little scallop circle to fit the circle element that was on the card sketch. And then used a stitched rectangle die to cut out the frame for my shaker. Added some of those sticko donut stickers on the base of my card, or my shaker piece. And I did make my the base of my shaker piece a little bit wider than my pink frame here, just because I wanted you to be able to see a little bit frame of white around it to kind of help it stand out against like the pink here especially. So that was a fun one. And then the last 2 ones that I did were total scrap cards. There are no, oh, there is a sketch for this one. But this I just used, there was a yellow piece of cardstock that I had left in the kit that I hadn't used yet. So I just pulled in several different patterns that I had left. I had a strip of this, a smaller piece of that, I had this already punched into a circle, and then just a little bit of strip of that pink cup paper left. And so I just decided to pull it all together. I pulled a happy birthday sentiment out of the stash of sentiments I keep on my desk, and then just brought in some little white circles to accent around it. And then for my last card, I used Operation Right Home sketch number 154, and because I had some little strips left, I decided to cut them into 1.5 inch squares. Except for the polka dot, it was just shy of 1.5 inches, so I just backed it on white to make it equal. Backed all of the squares on a brown piece of cardstock. This little pink stitched rectangle was what came out of the center of my shaker frame, and so since it was still sitting on my desk, I decided to go ahead and pull it in and use it up. And this hello sentiment was already a sentiment that was on my desk. And so I just pulled it in, and then I had this little brown strip that was left from when I cut down my square here. So I just decided to pull it in at the bottom to pull the brown down. And that is it. So this kit was so fun, and if you still have this kit, I hope you got some inspiration on how to use it. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will link any available products that I can find from Scrapping for Less in the description box below, as well as the sketches and the video where I show you how to make the post-it holders. But thank you guys so much for your time today, and thanks for stopping by the Scrapping for Less channel. Please be sure to stop back by and catch all the different designers that are sharing some awesome projects with you every day. So hope you guys are all having a crafty day.